Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I hope this is working. I'm just gonna mute for one quick second. I forgot to grab something and I'll be right with you. So 1 second and I'm coming. You can hear me and you can see me all right. I was muted all this time. Oh my God. If you can see me and you can hear me, please just type something in the chat box so I know that I'm not talking to myself here, because otherwise that was going to be slightly weird. Now, if you have not attended the webinar before, maybe it's worthwhile mentioning that I'm doing this live. So this is my home currently in Paris. And depending on the quality of the internet, but generally there is a little bit of lagging, right? So you should be probably seeing me in a delay of 30 seconds, 45 seconds, even up to a minute. Therefore, I hope that you still will be able to see me, and I'm asking whether you can hear or see me, and nobody's answering back, and that's going to be slightly weird that I'm talking to myself here. I'm just going to go ahead. I have my laptop over here, so I'm sorry for not looking at the camera, but I'm just going to go ahead and type it in a second in the chat box, just to make sure that you can hear me and see me and hear me all right. Yay, thank you very much. So somebody can hear me. So a guest from the Netherlands who did not intend to qualify her name. So thank you very much for hearing me. Hi, Marisa. Thank you so much for making it. I'm super excited to have you here. I think we have a couple of more minutes just before we get started, so I'm just gonna blabber a little bit. Tell me where you're joining in from and what time of the year, what time of the day is it for you? So for me, this is 9 o'clock in the evening. I'm in Paris, France, not Paris, Texas. And I tucked my kids to bed, and husband is watching something on TV, and so this is like the end of my working day. And tell me what you're up to. I see that Bushra here, she's from Abu Dhabi, and so we had a guest from the Netherlands. Let me know where you're from, guys. Let me know in the chat box. Hi, Veronica, and you're Ukrainian living from the Netherlands. So I was actually born in the, well, it's complicated. And I'll talk a little bit about my own story later on, but I was born in Crimea, the part in between Russia and Ukraine, so I'm not entirely sure how to define myself right now, but I haven't lived since the early age of 8. So, but thank you very much for being here. Marisa is from Copenhagen, Denmark. Oh, it's the same time, so it's nothing. And Ellie, nothing coming through for you. I think you should probably refresh and make sure that there is a bit of a delay. So as I'm speaking right now, you should probably be seeing I assume 30, 45 minutes of a delay. So try refreshing, and if that doesn't work, that's actually a YouTube live link, so you can and the bottom right corner of the video, there should be a link on YouTube, and you can maybe try and click the YouTube, and then you will see that it's working. Well, as long as it's working. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of experience of live streaming through the YouTube because they've recently changed the platform. But I've tested before, and you should be able to see me, and you should be able to follow me just with a slight delay. Ellie, let me know if that worked for you, and if maybe somebody can support her in the chat box. And I see that Amber is writing down saying, yeah, of course, you need to press the play button, right? So the video does not play automatically. You need to press the play button, and then we're gonna start trolling. So I'm gonna wait just maybe a minute or so just to make sure that everybody who can make it live will jump on board. I did have a couple of ladies who emailed me earlier today saying, you know, that they signed up for the training and they're super excited about it, but it's either 4 a.m. in their, you know, in their time zone, or they have guest family, or whatever this is happening. So there will be a recording of this training that I will be sending you afterwards. And but I'm really honored and I'm really happy that you showed up live, and trust me that I'm gonna make it worth your while, because I have a super actionable training for you here, packed with information and with value and concrete steps you can take and a way forward to reinventing your careers abroad. And you know what? I'm just gonna start maybe sharing the slides so you can you know, make sure that you can see them, and that everything works properly. And I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds just to make sure that we're on the same page here and that you can see my slides. So if the tag is not disappointing me right now, you should be facing a PowerPoint slide right now that says how to find your dream career abroad in 30 days or less. Let me know in the chat box, ladies, if you can see it. Yay, you can see it. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amber. Okay, then. Thank you, Ursula. You can see them as well. So this is me. My name is Rita Golstein-Galperin. I live in Paris, as I've mentioned before. I've lived in several other locations. I've actually traveled around the world and lived in 5 different countries beforehand. And I'm the founder of Expat Renaissance, a company that is based on supporting other expat women in recreating and reinventing their success abroad, and basically finding the career of their dreams and owning their success. And this is exactly what I want to do with you today. I want to focus on a practical system, on a structure that you can take from here and implement and go with it, and then you know, find the career of your dreams and just completely change your career path as you are succeeding overseas. Now, a couple of starting points. This is a free training. There's going to be a lot of exercise. I'm going to be talking a lot, and I tend to talk a little bit fast, so I do apologize for that. If something is not clear, or you think that I'm talking too fast, or you cannot understand my accent, you know, that happens as well, because, well, yeah, as you probably figured out, English is not my mother tongue. So just let me know in the chat box if you have any questions or something is not clear. Now, I suggest before we dive into the training itself, I suggest you grab a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, because there are going to be some exercise that I want you to complete. Now, I want to have the entire training, the entire masterclass within under 60 minutes. I'm really going to try to push everything together with under an hour, because, you know, I value your time and I don't want to be spending the entire night here with you. And there are some exercises that you can jot down, and you write down you know, what it is that you're supposed to be doing, and then you can play around with it and find your answers in writing later on. So we're not going to be spending a lot of time, you know, waiting for you to fill out the exercises, but just make sure that you have. Oh, thank you, Amber. Amber said that I have a great accent that is very clear. Thank you very much. It's super nice of you to say. And yeah, so in terms of opening notes, just make sure that you have something to write with. and maybe a glass of wine, cup of coffee, glass of water, whatever works your boat. Make yourself comfortable. And I think, hi Samantha in Paris. Very nice of you to join you. You haven't missed anything. We're just getting started. So I think we're gonna dive in. I think this is pretty much a good timing to dive in. So what we're gonna cover today, we're gonna go through a very brief introduction. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking about myself, because if you're interested, you can go Google me or something. We can talk about the reasons why you don't have it all figured out as of now. So I, for myself, personally, know I kind of expected that by the time I turn 35, I will have it all figured out. I will know where I'm headed, and I will know how to get there, and I will know what my dream career is. And then, I faced a big surprise there in the middle. We will cover why changing careers abroad is actually the best timing. So you've been given an exciting opportunity, and we're gonna touch upon how to leverage that and how to find your unique voice and your value proposition as an expert in changing careers. I'm gonna give you 4 practical steps to finding your career dream abroad. So this is gonna be based on exercises and real life case studies of my private clients that you can later on go and implement on your own, do the homework, and thrive overseas. And lastly but not least, I do encourage you to stay till the very end, because I have some surprises, and I have a suggestion of what you can do about this, but mostly incredible surprises coming your way. So I'm gonna make it worth a while. Hi Leah, thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you here. And so I thought maybe as a matter of introduction, we can start by, this old game, 3 truths and a lie. So I have 4 statements here about me. And if we're getting to know each other, I think it would be fun to play a game as we try to guess which one are the truth and which one are the lies. And so the 4 statements that I have here is, I don't know how to ride a bicycle. I attempted my first striptease dance at the tender age of 14. I was the first person in my family to ever go to college. Or I speak 4 languages on a daily basis. So which one, guys, do you think it is? So there's 3 of those statements should be true, and there's only 1 lie. Now, that's not a very easy one to detect. So let me know what you think. How kinky or how weird do you think I am? Type it out in the chat box. Number 1, no, so I must admit, I'm extremely embarrassed to admit this, but I do not know how to ride a bicycle. It's true. And there were several attempts starting from the age of, I don't know, like 5 or 7. And up until very last year, a lot of people tried, and yeah, I'm just terrible. I don't know, I freak out, I panic, and I stop paddling, and yeah, that's not the best way of riding a bike. And so Amber says, last one, no, I do speak 4 languages. So technically Russian is my mother tongue, but I was brought up in Israel, and so I speak Hebrew, and that's what I speak to my husband. So I speak Russian to my kids, I speak Hebrew to my husband. I use English in my daily life, so for work and for my business as well. And we live in France, and so obviously I have to use French with everybody I meet. And somebody guessed too. Okay, now this is really embarrassing story, but and it sounds worse than it really is. But when I was 14, we had a sleepover at one of my friend's house. And since we were all grown up, we were 14, so the parents were not around, and we decided to try the liquor cabinet of her dad. And there was some vodka there, and yeah, one thing led to another. So there was not a proper striptease. I mean, let me be honest about that. But I did make a bit of a fool out of myself. There were only 5 girls in the room, and I'm a decent woman. I'm married. I have kids. It's not like this is not a career path that I've envisioned for myself or have actively tried, but I did attempt to entertain them in a striptease dance. Oh, so Samantha, you speak 3 languages. Well, you see, you have 1 more to go. No, I'm kidding. This is amazing. And my kids, they grew up in this environment of multi-languages, and I think this is a very unique opportunity. And so, surprisingly enough, nobody guessed that the lie here is that I was the first person in my family to ever to go to college. And to be honest, it couldn't be further from the truth. So as I said, I come from Russian origin, and I think till I was like in my mid 20s, I did not even realize that there is an option of not going to university. I know that sounds really lame and incredibly geeky, but for me, that was just, a normal thing. That's what you do. Like, you go to primary school, middle school, high school, you finish up, and then you study university, because, both my mom and my dad and my grandparents on both sides and their parents. And so, very well educated. Everybody went to university. Everybody studied academic degrees. And so, yep, that's actually the lie. So that's for breaking the ice a little bit. But if I move to the introduction of who the hell am I, and why you should be listening to me, and why am I having this training even, right? So why are you here? Why are we spending this evening together? And why are we looking for a perfect career path abroad? So this is my own personal story, the mind-blowing transformation. So you would probably see, you've seen a lot of those, like you see them on Forbes and Business Insider and all over the internet, to be honest. The coming from the ashes Cinderella story, the girl or the boy that was on welfare and couldn't afford anything, and like didn't know how to feed his kids, and then like 3 months later, rockstar millionaire, huge success, inspiring everybody, going on opera and taking photo with all the celebrities. And yeah, my transformation story is almost the same. So this is me, the before. And brace yourself, ladies. This is the after. Are you ready? And this is the after. So my own mind-blowing transformation is not that impressive, as you've guessed. I think the lightning is a little better in the second picture. I like it a little bit better, but generally, I'm just a regular woman. I don't have a major shift. I don't have an epiphany. Nothing that dramatic has happened to me. I was always really successful in my career path. I was not necessarily incredibly content with what I was doing, or I did not feel aligned, that I was creating the impact that I want to create. But yeah, I did not have a major, oh my God, how did she make it moment. And so let me drive this point a little bit further down. So I was not, and I am not, and this is really important for me to emphasize before we dive any deeper. So I'm not an inspiring Cinderella story, and I never, I was never on welfare. I never found myself sobbing hysterically on the floor of my bathroom, 3 a.m., thinking, how am I gonna feed my babies or something of that nature. So that's on the one side. But then on the other side, I'm not some sort of a know-it-all guru that has all the answers, and I'm gonna teach you the exact steps, and that's the only way you can follow, because I don't think you ever can have all the answers, right? You kind of figure it out as we go along. And yes, I am a career coach, but I learn a lot of things as we go along together with my clients, and with you here as well. And I don't make millions in my sleep just by dreaming about them. And I don't take pictures with Oprah or Tony Robbins or any other celebrity out there. And I don't drink pina coladas on the beach. Well, first because I don't really like pina coladas, but also because that's not what my life is about, right? I'm just a regular person. This is the real me, with no transformation, no major shift, nor nothing. So I'm a wife of one. I'm married to a handsome medical researcher. So my husband is a very serious man. He works in an institution studying HIV, so trying to find the cure for AIDS. And I have 2 super energetic boys, age 6 and 3.5, and they are a handful. And those are my friends from many years before, and those are this is us on a ski trip last year. So I basically live kind of an ordinary, normal life, like a lot of you probably, I assume. The only reason is that the only difference is that I devote my life into sparking magic into other people's life, because this is what Expert Renaissance is for me, is trying to provide an opportunity and an outlet for women not to give up on their dreams and not to kind of decide that this is it, this is as far and as good as it gets. And I try to inspire them to follow their dreams and find their career jobs. And if you're interested to know a little bit more about my own personal story and my upbringing and you know, who am I, and what are my training and what are my credentials, you're more than welcome to go into expertrenaissance.com, the about page, and you will find out all about my history and my previous achievements and what would you have. So let me quickly just look at the chat box. And Ursula is saying high five for your husband's job. Well, thank you very much, Ursula. I'll make sure that they'll let him know, of course. Thank you. And so with that in mind, I think we're ready for the meat and potatoes. It's time, really, it is time. We've done some of the introduction notes, and so this is really time to break free from feeling stuck and frustrated and overwhelmed in your current job or lack of job, or feeling that you kind of lost yourself. And it's time to figure out your passions one and for all and understand what it is that you want to do when you grow up. And it's time to fast track your way to a new career in just 30 days. And it's time to do all the hard work and understand, embrace your many passions and create the vision. And it really is time to completely reinvent your career, dream abroad, and thrive overseas. So let's get started. I'm sorry, here we go. So what do you guys think that is keeping you away from the career of your dreams abroad? So type down in the chat box. I'm going to be looking. What do you think is keeping you away? What is not? What's not working? Oh, hey, Antoine. So you speak Dutch, German, English fluent, and French, and Swiss. Wow, yeah, that's very impressive. So ladies, let me know, what are you thinking? What is keeping you away from your dream career? And there probably is a delay because I don't see anybody typing. Well, as you go along and as you type your answers, let me ask you maybe another question that will be a guiding one. I'm gonna try to help you. Do you remember taking career happiness 101 in college? Or have you ever studied reinventing your career abroad 303? Or did you do any particular training in high school or in university or elsewhere on how to really choose a career of your dreams and how to understand what you're passionate about? Let me know. This is not just general questions. Yeah, okay, yeah, I see comments coming in. So what keeps me away is not being fluent in Dutch and living in a small city far away from the international companies. And Amber missed the class. Well, you know what? I happened to miss the class as well. No, I didn't take it, right? So we spent a lot of time doing calculus and doing chemistry or literature, or, you know, I come from legal background, so I'm a lawyer by training, but I've never ever taken a course that were supposed to teach me on choosing my career path and understanding what it is that I want to do when I grow up. Where are my passions like? What is my purpose? What am I good at? How do I leverage that? Yeah, I've never taken the class. So I see a lot of language barriers here. Yeah, that's a major one. I understand that, you know, I live in France, so I know from first experience, and I know how difficult it was for my husband as well when they first arrived here and when they started working in the French group of researchers. It's a challenge, but there are many other challenges that go as well into this. And so the next questions that I have for you is, what happens when you think about finding your new career or changing your past? What sort of emotions or what thoughts go through your mind? And so Marisa said that she's an expert in Denmark, but she speaks Danish, so that's easier for me. Yeah, language is a major issue. I agree. I mean, there is no way around it. However, there is no way around learning the language. I don't have any magic wand to help you do that. But there is a way around it in terms of finding a career that does not necessarily require language skills, but I'm getting really ahead of myself. And so Amber says that she suffers from anxiety, fear of the unknown, excitement, yearning, and so many. And so I think Amber perhaps was cheating, and she could, she took it from my own slide here. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, of course, the things that come to mind, and this is just a mere example of what I hear from clients. It's you don't have the experience, you don't even know where to start. Many women, well, many people in general, but women in particular, face the I'm not good enough syndrome. So they think they're imposters, and I don't even know what I want, and what happens if I fail. And there's this very common fear, or very common notion that everybody knows that you cannot make a living out of, and then fill in the blank. So writing, dancing, video photography, whatever it is. Life is not a fairy tale. I have too many passions. I don't have any passions. So there are a lot of limiting beliefs that automatically pumps into your head, and fear just kicks in. So the moment you start to think about changing careers abroad, you have a major shift of fear, and like self-doubt gremlins almost take control of your mind, and they prevent you from going any step further. And among the fears that we have, and we've mentioned a few, and I see in the chat box that people are suffering from very serious fears. So I'm not good enough for any sort of version of that. So I'm not fast enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know the language well enough. I'm not techie enough. I'm not young enough, I guess. And then what about the money? So we all have major money issues. Who here has been brought up with the notion that money is a source of evil, or all those others saying and misunderstandings about money, and how to welcome money and abundance into our life. And then there's another group of fears. What will they think? And now they, in this particular case, can stand for any number of people. So that could be like your mom, or your sister, your neighbor, best friend from high school, the uncle that has all the answers, or any sort of people in your area that project their own fears and their own insecurities onto you, and they have all the answers. And so where does it really bring us? So you've never taken this class, you've never learned how to define your dream career, or how to redefine it if you're thinking of changing a career path, and you're bombarded with fears and self-doubt. So of course, no wonder that you're feeling tired and drained and confused and stuck and overwhelmed. And those are not just all the negative words that I could find in the English dictionary, but and there are plenty others. Those are words that I hear from real women that find themselves in a position that they've arrived abroad, and they should be grateful or thankful for their financial situation, because the household has some money and the husband is working, but they're completely overwhelmed, and they're completely shocked, and they don't even know where to begin. And then all the fears kick in, and they don't know how to handle this, and they're just lost. They're basically stuck and confused, and they don't know how to do this, and they don't know how to find their career dreams, and they don't know how to change themselves. They don't even know what they want. So how on earth are they gonna find it? And so luckily for you, if you're one of those women, this is your wake-up call. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, I actually make the worst wake-up call in the history of wake-up calls, because ding, ding, ding is not really a wake-up call. But you get what I'm saying, because this webinar is about addressing those two. So you have those challenges coming in, and I want to help you address those. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to first understand why being an expat woman is actually the perfect timing for this particular change. And then I'm going to walk you through the steps that you can take and work on this and figure out what it is that you want and how you face your fears. So why now? Because you, my darling, have been granted an amazing opportunity of the expat gift. Now, this particular gift might not come wrapped in shiny red ribbons and colorful paper, especially not when the isolation and overwhelm and language barriers and the loss of self-identity starts to kick in. That feels really not like a gift. But surprisingly enough, it still is. And you know why? And the reason is because you have the opportunity to think. You can pause, by being pulled away from your regular mold, by being pulled away from everything that is familiar and that is usual and that is regular, you have the opportunity to pause and to think and to dream and to actually dive deep into yourself. And you have the luxury of asking yourself the question, what is it that I want? Because when we're going through the motions on our daily life and we're incredibly busy and we're surrounded by the same friends, the same people that, that were brought up in the same environment, and we all kind of share a very similar belief system, we never pause in the middle of the life and say, okay, so hi Rita, what is it that you want from yourself? And thus being pulled away from this by being torn from your regular habitat, it gives you the opportunity. It's a perfect timing to reinvent yourself abroad. So what should you know? And this is before we dig into the steps, this is something incredibly important. So when faced with those notions of everybody knows you cannot make a living out of writing or whatever that might be, the first questions I ever want you to ask yourself, whether you need to distinguish whether it's a fact or it's a common belief. Because if it's a common belief, there is a high chance that this is the fear of the other person being projected onto you. So if your know-it-all uncle says that you cannot make a living out of writing, maybe he actually tried it or dreamed about trying it in college, and then he didn't succeed, and so his own fear and his own disappointment is being projected onto you. Because you have lived in your life, in your body for the last 25, 35, 45, I mean, it depends, how old are you, but your entire life. So I suppose that would sort of make you the expert on the issue of you and what makes you tick and what is it's gonna work for you. And so the way to contradict those common beliefs and those fears being projected out of you, you need to think outside of the box. You need to be able to tackle those beliefs, but you also need to create a system, and you always need to focus on facts. And me, this is what I do. I focus on facts. I'm all about step-by-step system that challenges the facts. And so my way of working with clients and my perspective on finding a dream career is on every conjunction along the way, we're gonna ask, is it fact or is it just a perception? And if it's a perception, how can you contradict that? And how can you push through this to arrive from point A to point B doing exactly what you want to do? And this particular method of mine has been actually featured in some cool places on the planet internet. So, I've been on Expert Focus and Internations, Anglo Info, TEDx, Expatriate Magazine, you see all of those places. So I assume I know a thing or two about finding the facts and structuring your system. So let's summarize, let's kind of touch base on where we are right now. It's about creating and executing the tailor-made system, right? So it's not just about contradicting the fears that are being thrown your way. It's about putting them to action and about implementing the system. And as I said, my husband, he's a medical researcher, and so I have this picture here inspired by him. So I have absolutely no idea what sort of an experience going on, but the idea is to give you a notion that you have to take action. It's not just about thinking about it or dreaming about it. It's about taking one step at a time and taking inspired action and making this come to life. So, are you ready? Let me check the chat box for a second. Okay, so I see you guys are chatting among yourself, which is awesome. And I'm gonna let you choose that. And if you have any questions, please type them in, and I'm gonna be checking periodically. And of course, we have at the end an open Q&A. So if you still left with some questions, that shouldn't be a problem. So step number 1, know yourself. Become the expert of you. And as I said, you've been living in your body. You should be having some sort of notion or some sense of expertise on the subject of you. But we're gonna do some exercises to help you get there. And so the first one is about your values. I want you to look back at your experience, both professional and personal. So, it could be your family experience and what you've done previously in your life. And I want you to identify 4 situations. 1, where you were extremely happy. 2, when you were really proud. 3, when you felt that you were fulfilled. And the last one is when you were struggling. And for each and every one of those scenarios, I want you to outline what you were doing, who were you with, like were you alone, and how did the other people react to this? How did they contribute to the situation or not contribute to the situations? And then what other factors or elements that you want to, contribute to your feeling this way? So I'm going to give you a second just to copy the table. We're not going to be filling it out right now because it's going to take some time. But what I am going to do, I'm going to give you an example. So this is from a client of mine. Her name is Sarah. And so Sarah has decided to share, she has agreed to share her story with us. And and this is a healthy mix in between professional and personal. And so let's look at a couple of the things that she has written here. So she felt extremely happy when she was on a ski trip with her family. And, she was enjoying her time with her daughters, and we all shared it, and nobody judged each other, no matter what the skills are or how it was going. And she was feeling really proud when she won the Excellence Award, the Employee of the Year award. So, anybody would probably feel proud for that. But so what she felt was she was accepted and recognized, and people congratulated her on that. And then when she struggled, was quite the opposite. So she had a boss, not a very good one, apparently. And he did not appreciate her effort. He did not take serious. He did not kind of value the impact that she was having. And so from the first glimpse, it might look to you like, general anecdotes from Sarah's life. But if you look a little bit closer, we can outline groups of values that become really important. So Sarah values overcoming a challenge and being recognized, being congratulated and acknowledged by that. And it's important to her that the F creates value, so she does something of importance, but it's also shared with her close group, right? So whether her family or her colleagues or somebody from her team. So we can underline here several values in Sarah's behavior that are extremely important, and we can translate them into the kind of career that she wants to create for herself. So that's one example. And once again, I'm going to let you do the exercise later on, and you're going to have the replay as well, and you can look into this. And then still within getting to know yourself, the second exercise I want you to do is look at your surroundings. So this time we're not focusing on your own experience, but rather on the one from the people around you. So that could be your mom, your sister, your best friend, your neighbor, the teacher you used to have, or whatever that might be. And I want you to outline the qualities that you like about those people. What kind of qualities makes you look up to them and admire what they do, and what sort of characteristics do you like? And once again, I have an example here. This is from another client. Her name is Julia. And so she has chosen her father, her dad, her high school teacher, the neighbor next door to her parents, and her oldest friend. And, and from a glimpse of it, all different people, and they have their own traits, and they have their own personalities, and obviously the things she would normally admire about them would be completely context related and different. But if you focus on this particular table a little bit longer, what becomes evident is that we can group those qualities that she looks up to into very concrete things that are important to her. So if you can see that supporting and encouraging and accepting and non-judgmental would be one group, while it's driven and ambitious and motivated would probably be another group. And then there's the third example here is the modest and focuses and enjoys little things in life, accepting, patient. And so those are, once again, Julia's values that should drive her to find the career of her job, the career of her dreams, I'm sorry. So not just a random job to pay her rent, or to support her, but really to understand what it is that she wants to do, to create the dream life and the full rich expat life. So she probably want to work around people who are driven and ambitious and motivated, but once again, they're still accepting and they're not judgmental, and so the atmosphere is not as competitive as one might think. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I apologize. My nose is running and I'm going to be coughing a little bit in between. Well, what you want to do. So that's exercise number 2, and we're finishing up the first step, and I'm moving on to the second step. And if you recall, we talked a lot about the fears and the limiting beliefs that kick in once you start to think about changing career path and embarking onto a new career. And so the exercise here that I'm going to ask you to do is to list out all of the fears that you're currently facing. So what are the thoughts that are holding you back? And so we're going to be on the left-hand side, we're going to have all the fears. And then for each and every fear, we're going to try to see what is it caused by. As a result of this particular fear, what are the outcomes? So by not facing it, how does this influence your life, your reality? What are the problems that you're facing? And then if you could take constructive stress, and if you could address your fears, and if you could come up with a counter argument and overcome this fear, how would your life benefit, and how would you feel that your life has become better through this fear? And so I don't think I have an example. I have a partial example. Sorry about that. So this one is from Anna, but the table is not full. She agreed to share the fears, some of the fears that she had listed out, but not the personal stories of what has caused it and how she's suffering from it, because that gets a little bit too personal. But if you look through the left side of the table, you will see that failing in front of the people and thinking she's a fake and laughing at her and not living up to expectations. This is a major fear, extremely common. And she's afraid of growing bitter and stressed, and you can learn a lot about her values as well here, because she doesn't want to get there, and she doesn't want to repeat her parents' mistake. And once again, she comes back to being a fake or being an imposter. She's afraid that people will laugh at her, and she's not going to be loved and supported. And so for your own work, what I need you to do is jot down a very simple table and list out all the fears, all the limiting beliefs that automatically come to you. Don't judge the judgmental thoughts, but just pour it out. Just write everything out. What are the fears? What are the judgmental? What are the insecurities? What are the self-doubt thoughts that come to mind? And then we're gonna analyze each and every one of those, trying to come up with a counter argument and try to see how you can, how is it hindering your success and what you can do about it. So that's step number 2. And I guess the most common fear that we all face is, what if I fail? Right? And it comes in various shades and sizes, but essentially what is going on here is the fear of the unknown, right? You picture the worst case scenario, what happens if you lose, but there's also a chance that you're gonna win, right? So it's the fear of the unknown. And so the way to tackle this would probably be the first to ask, what is the worst case scenario? So like, say your worst nightmare came true tomorrow. How would it look like? What would be the outcome of the worst case scenario? So how would that impact your life? How would it feel? How would it smell? How would it look? Like, what would be the real implications in your daily life? And what are the chances of that happening? Because sometimes we actually have some information. So sometimes it's 50-50, but other times we would have some implications of what could possibly go wrong and what are the chances of that happening, but we overlook them because we're so obsessed with this worst case scenario in our head. And what evidence do you have to prove just the opposite? So we know that it actually might go right, and what support do you have for that? What sort of evidence? And what are the exact opposite positive way of thinking about this limiting path to change the about? So as I said, I come from legal background, and so for me it's very helpful to think about it in terms of coming up with counter arguments in court. So if you were to prove your case in court against the particular fear or the limiting beliefs that you're facing, how would you structure your argument? What would you tell in, the argument? The fear would raise his own ideas, and what would you say in return to contradict the fear and to make your case? And by doing this mental exercises, you are actually facing your worst case scenario, and you understand what are the benefits that you stand to win if it doesn't happen, if you actually lose, and if you succeed in embarking on this change that you're dreaming of. Step number 3. Are you ready, ladies? If you have any questions, please make sure to type them in the chat box. Step number 3 is do your research. There are various, there are many other different career tools that you can find online. So personality test, IQ test, strength profile, social traits, and so on and so forth. And for the sake of this training, and this is getting a little bit longer than I expected, we're not going to dive into each and every one of those. But I do want to talk to you about one very important asset, about an online profile that is called ONET Online. And that's an occupational database. It will allow you to do a very intelligent research on various occupations out there. Because when we're children, we're asked what it is that we want to do when they grow up. Boys would normally, come up with probably a firefighter, I guess. And then girls would be either a Cinderella princess or maybe a nurse. Yeah, that's probably the most advanced. But there are various career paths, and there are various jobs and occupations that are just completely out of our zone of awareness. And so when you approach that, I want you to think about, to broaden your horizons and to do the research and to study and understand the various options available to you. And so you would go online, you see you have this search bar, and I typed in film, and I don't come from this industry, so I don't know a lot about this industry at all, but it would give you an outline of all the various possibilities. So you can become a film and video editor, and you can be a music composer and arranger, and you can be a photographer, and you can work in the field of photonics and technicians and material scientists and producer and director. And so all those things having to do with the film industry, but completely different jobs. And each and every one of them is a link, so you can click through, and it will give you an elaborate explanation of the various occupations. And so for the film editor, it's gonna give you all the tools and technology you need to be able to use. So Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, obviously, and then a bunch of other programs that I have no idea what they mean or what they do, because I don't come from the film industry. But just, it's a good tool to have to play around with and to understand the different necessities. So, all sorts of abilities and work activities. And and the work context is really important. So if you're into film and you want to become National Geographic, and you're envision yourself running in the wild and spending most of your time outdoors and completely filming the animal life, I guess you'd be a little bit surprised first, but then disappointed to find out that 94% of the time you would probably be indoors, and 81% you would spend your time sitting, working on editing the film. So it's neither good or bad. I'm not saying that this is something, that's a deal breaker, but it is definitely something to take into consideration when considering your dream career, right? So when you're thinking about embarking on a change, you need to do your research. And film is just an illustration, but go around, play ONET Online, just play with the platform and try to find out, broaden your horizons. And that brings us to step number 4. So what it is that you really want to do when you grow up. And as I said, for expert, this is really a unique opportunity, because you've been completely pulled away from your usual mold, and now that you've underlined some of your core values, and you're facing your fears, or you're learning how to face and to embrace your fears, you've done some research, so you're broadening your horizon, it's really important to ask, okay, so what it is that you want to do with your life? And how do you answer that? Well, let me tell you how you don't answer that first. So what not to do when trying to find your career dream abroad. Albert Einstein had said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you've been unhappy and if you've been feeling stuck and isolated and just not being able to find the job of your dreams overseas, doing more of what you've been doing is really not gonna get you. You're just gonna, go through the motions and send out your resume and your CVs and write your cover letters, but it's not gonna be able to push you to the next level, to the next, taking the big leap of finding the job that is truly aligned with who you are and what it is what you want to do. So that's not what to do, number one. What not to do, number two, and I guess that's a bit of an illustration of the first one. But just, throwing spaghetti at the wall and just hoping that something will stick. There should be a method behind your madness. Yes, you don't have to have everything figured out from the get-go, but you should be intentional in the kind of actions that you take and not just randomly sending out applications and, reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, but then never getting back in contact with them. That's not going to work. You have to have a structured system. Now, you have to be a little bit honest with yourself here. I mean, come on, this is real talk. If you are the kind of person that can have a gym membership without any classes, and you know that you can count on yourself, that you will go 3 times a week and you will work out on your own without any sort of accountability mechanism, well, all the power to you. Because I've given you some very important, actionable, practical exercises that you can do. And you can go ahead and implement them, and you don't need me, and you can just do it yourself. Just create a very aware and structured process and go ahead. But if you're not this kind of person, then let's face it, most of us are not that self-motivated, and we do not have this endless internal power underneath of us. We need some accountability, and this is where the power of a group comes in handy. You need to find people that are like-minded. So you are the average of, it's a very popular saying, I'm not sure who said it first, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. And, that could be, of course, your family and your neighbors and the people in your daily life. But the importance of surrounding yourself with people who go through the very similar processes as you do. So with expert women who understand you, who are completely like-minded, who are embarking on a career change as well, and who are trying to figure it out and build their true dream life abroad, this is going to be extremely helpful, because they will know where you're coming from, and they will recognize your challenges, and they will go through the very same hurdles, and they will be able to support you, and they will be able to offer advice and also to hold you accountable and to make sure that you do what you said you're going to do, because this is the power of a group. Now, so how do you go from being chained by your self-doubt gremlins into a full-reach expert life and a happy portable careers? Well, ta-da-da-da! I'm so happy that you asked. No, I'm just kidding. So this is essentially the end of our meat and potatoes chapter for now. And we have come to the end of this magical journey, and that sounds maybe a little bit Disney, but yep. And like all things Disney, the ending is happily ever after if you choose to take the next step. And I underline the if here. Now let me tell you that not souls are brave enough to take this healing to the next level. You could be saying to yourself, and I assume some of you will be, but I've learned so much on the webinar, and I have all those exercises, and I understand that I need to have a system. So what else can she possibly teach me? Okay, yeah, I hear your argument, really I do. But remember how at the beginning I told you this is a fast track to finally get you aligned with your passions and to face those fears and to identify your vision and create a roadmap that will get you there. So not just a general notion of what it is that you want to do, but a real roadmap that will support your journey, well, this is your chance, ladies. Introducing Grow Abroad, a gift of reinventing and owning your worth, an expert guide to a successful career system. This is the only expert-oriented step-by-step system specifically tailored for your needs to help you figure out your core 3Ps, so that's your passion, purpose, and profit, to figure out your next career move abroad. So how do you move from where you are right now, being stuck and overwhelmed, to the next step, and will completely help you reinvent and find your dream job in 30 days or even less. So you go from overwhelmed into thriving without all the background noises, without all the doubts and all the fears that are being projected onto you. Because really, ladies, this is time to stop putting your dreams on hold. It's time to claim yourself back and finally find something that you truly love, get crystal clear on your passions and your vision, and completely change yourself. And without compromising your lifestyle, and without paying for excessive private coaching packages, and without blaming your husband or the expert experience, or the entire world and his uncle for the problems and for not knowing what you want to do. But this is really time to regain control of your life and actually claim yourself back, and once and for all figure it out what it is that you want to do. So within the Grow Abroad system, you have no more overwhelm or general fluff or kind of half-based guru bits of wisdom. It's not about general advice. It's about really actionable steps and practical workbooks you can complete and exercises you can do to tackle your own thoughts and your own beliefs, and to figure out what it is that you want to do. So no more guessing in the dark and just randomly applying to jobs and going through job boards, but really a structured process to understand how you get crystal clear on what it is that you want and how do you get there. So no more constantly the disappointment and doubts of self-worth, because now you have a system. Now you know how to get there. So let me warn you for a second here. Yes, I understand that you have offerings coming at you a mile a minute, and I understand the overwhelm and the constant push to buy. Especially right now with the Christmas holiday season, everybody's trying to sell you something. Buy it right now, or the world will end and your kids will grow up to be like Justin Bieber. I get it all. I hear those, and at the end of the day, I'm a customer just like you, so I hear all of those arguments. So I'm gonna tell you straight ahead, this is not for everybody, and I'm gonna give you 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy. And by the way, if you like Justin Bieber, I'm sorry, but for me, that's a bit of a threat. So this is not for you if you're not ready to commit and do the hard work and really take this stubborn bull by its horns and change the path of your career. And it's not for you if you want to continue doing what you've been doing so far and hoping for a different outcome. And it's not for you if you're just kind of willing to dip it, to try a little bit, but not really commit to it and not really go through it, because nobody has learned to swim just by dipping their toe in the water. You're either in it to win it or you're not. And it's not for you if you think that you can figure it out or on your own, that you feel that being stuck and overwhelmed does not take its price on you, and you think that you can come up with your own solutions. Please, by all means, go ahead. But if you are a rebel, a rule breaker, an unconventional, ferocious, I'm not gonna say that, but if you feel that you're ready to the next step, you might want to check this out. And so what is it that you get with your Grow Abroad course? This is a transformation from where you are right now. So first, we will focus on understanding the situation and what has worked and what has not worked, and the kind of balance you have in your life, and what is lacking, and what are the values that are not being met. We will move on to addressing your fears and your limiting belief, and resolving all the money issues, and understanding how you can leverage that to go to the next level. Then we're gonna embrace your many, many passions, and please spare me those gurus, B-level speakers issue, recommendation of just find your passion and go with it and follow it. Come on, as if you're gonna wake up and the passion is gonna magically fall from the sky. This is not gonna happen. So we're gonna embrace your many aspects and your many skills and your many strengths, and just understand what it is that you bring to the table, what it is that you wanna do. You're gonna do very constructive, structured research on your career, and we're gonna understand what kind of a work environment or maybe entrepreneurship is right for you. So what does your dream job really entail? And then essentially we're gonna create a roadmap. So the last module that is called Breaking Free is gonna be about setting your goals, about your future self vision, about creating your tribe, so working on your network the right way, not just randomly pushing your business cards and pitching to strangers, but having a system in place to implement your dream and to make you meet your goals. So what do you actually get with this program? A private support community. So we talked a little bit about the importance of a group and about being accountable and being with like-minded people who can support you throughout your journey. You have office hours, so you have direct access to me. So you have a question, or you have something is not clear, something is not not working out, or you want to ask me something, just tag me and I'm here. You have my private clients case studies, so you can learn from examples and get inspired. And you have all the videos and printable workbooks and exercises, and all the steps you need to take, walking you hand in hand from point A to point B, to figuring out where it is that you want to do when you grow up, and to making you go get this dream job of yours, or setting the foundations for your dream business. And don't take just my word for it. There's some recommendations, and on the sales page you can see a bunch more. But so Jenny here from Amsterdam, we have a couple of people from the Netherlands, but she said Rita immediately grabs the situation and provides tangible recommendations for action. Her understanding of issues facing the internationally mobile people is second to none. I now have a clear direction, and I feel I finally found something that will stick. So, that's an awesome testimonial, and thank you her very much for sharing this. But Natalie from Paris here said it was an enlightening experience to work with the charismatic coach, and Rita eagerly, that would be me, shared her knowledge and expertise, and always offering support and flexibility, while smoothly leading me to rediscover a world of new opportunities. And this is what it's all about. It's not about getting a job that you used to have in your home country. It's about using the leverage of moving to a new country, to the host country, to completely open up their horizons and finding your dream job, the one that is right for you. But wait, that's not all. Yeah, I know that sounds super, super spammy, and I have this Shop TV here, but those bonuses, they're the real deal. So let me just quickly go through them, because they offer tons of value in themselves without even the core program. So the first bonus is a side hustle starter kit. So if you were thinking of starting your own business, or following your passion and working for your own, maybe a side hustle is the answer for this. So this is a 10-step process that you would have on how to figure out your ideal client and how to understand what sort of business you can offer. How are you going to package your services? How are you going to sell them? How are you going to make your offer? And then you would have a video tutorial with a workbook with actionable steps. And you also have a resource guide. So resource guide with concrete marketplace and platforms and website where you can go ahead and sell your expertise as of today. So like starting tomorrow morning. You don't have to start your own website. You don't have to, have a huge business plan in place. You can start selling small on Udemy, or you can just start doing some small gigs on Fiverr or people per hour and so on and so forth. And you'll find all those recommendations in the starter kit. Regional cultural gaps. So that's an interview I had with an expert, with a woman that works for 20 years with people who move different cultures and what sort of issues might arise in the communication. And we talked through about what sort of issues come about when changing careers, and if you have moved in a country that's maybe in Asia or in Africa, or is really different than your own home country perspective on nature of culture, we're going to learn how to bridge those. So your third bonus is the vision board workshop. So no more just, it's not about finding nice images and magazines and just gluing them to your wall. That looks aesthetic, but it has absolutely no point. We're going to learn how to do this the right way, how to activate the vision board and how to narrow down your wish list into concrete steps and to helping you meet your goals that become actionable and not just nice pictures. Now, the fourth bonus is the time management rescue plan. And this is the course that sells beautifully on its own. And it's about the difference of efficient versus effective, and about creating 80% of your results with 20% of your effort. So just understanding what is it that you want to do and what will get you the most results and how are you going to get closer to your goals and to finding your dream career. So this alone will pay for the entire course. And then lastly is the information toolbox. It's at the end of the day, it's not a magical one, right? So it's going to be hard sometimes, and it's going to be challenging, and you want to maybe thinking of quitting, and you're going to hear no occasionally. And so I have printable cards for you to, I come prepared. There are, I think, 25 or 30. I'm not sure, right? But printable cards you can print, and you can have it in your purse, and put it on your computer, on the wall, next to your bed, wherever. There's those small cards with just positive affirmations to support you through the hardship and push you forward. Whew. So those are the 5 bonuses. So how much is it gonna cost me? And I'm part of a mastermind, so I have my own group of colleagues and friends and entrepreneurs that we support each other on our journey. And so I came to them saying, well, I'm gonna launch this kick-ass course, and I'm super excited about my vision because I really, really want to help expert women like myself completely reinvent themselves and change their career path, and how much they think I should be charging for all those goodies, and this is what we're going to cover. And I heard several suggestions, so they were like 500, 600, 700, but the lowest that I had is $399. You know what? That just didn't sit right with me. Like, it felt that it's not me. It's not aligned. This is not the kind of brand I want to create. This is not the kind of, because I want to serve the trailing spouse that is currently sitting at home and not being sure what it is that she wants to do with her life. And she's completely lost and overwhelmed. And, $500 is a great expenditure. So for some, that might be like, not of money, but for others, that's just like tons of money. And so what I've decided is that I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to charge $149 for the course and all the 5 bonuses. So the bonuses themselves, they just pay for it. If you combine all the value that you have from them, and this is over $149. Except not today. For those of you ladies who have showed up, and thank you very much for sticking with me, because I said we're gonna try to have it in under 60 minutes, and I'm running a little bit over time here. But for those of you who have showed up, and for the automatic reply that I'm gonna be sending out for the next 24 hours, the price is $99. Because I know that some people could make it live, and they emailed me earlier saying that they have constraints and it's 4 o'clock in the morning at their time, so on and so forth. And so for the replay as well, the course with all the bonuses is gonna be $99. But wait, that's not even all. Yeah, I know, this is me, I'm over-delivering. So I have 2 disappearing bonuses. Disappearing bonus number 1. The first 10 women to buy the 4 calls get 1-hour consultation with me. So that's 60 minutes to use me as you wish. So questions, dilemmas, throwing out ideas. If you have a business idea, rewriting your CV, going over your cover letter, analyzing your drafts or business, or whatever it is that you want me to do, I'm yours for 60 minutes. So steal my brain, utilize my experience, utilize my languages, if you want me to translate or whatever. 60 minutes, so for the women who will meet the criteria, I will email them a link, and you just book your 60 minutes, and I'm completely yours for entire 60 minutes to address your issues, tailor-made solutions. So it's not just, go ahead, this is the course, follow the steps. I'm yours for 60 minutes to guide you through whatever questions that might arise. And a disappearing bonus number 2 is for the first 20 women. So once again, limiting, and it's gonna disappear. But the first 20 women to buy the course in full will get a LinkedIn Makeover Masterclass. So once again, this is a separate course that is selling on its own, but gonna offer you for free. So and we're gonna talk about how to optimize and rock your LinkedIn profile, how to create the profile that would actually attract leads and offers and new connections. So it's good both for business and for employment if you're looking for one. And we're gonna have a Q&A, a live Q&A with the questions that you want. So for the 20 women who will opt in into this bonus, will be fast action takers, and will end up having this bonus. We're gonna have a small mini webinar, just for us, with live Q&A. So I can go over your own questions. I can go over your profiles. You have questions, something is not clear. I'm there to have for the entire webinar talking about LinkedIn. Whew. So what happens now? Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you pumped? Are you thrilled like I am? Because I feel that I'm screaming at the computer right now. So if I am, I do apologize. But I'm just extremely happy to get this baby out of the world, because I've been sitting on it for so long, and I know that there is a market. I know there is an appetite, and I had a lot of people email me and asking me, okay, so how do we join this, and where do you find this service? And you at the bottom of the page, you will find two links, two buttons. The first one saying buy Grow Abroad course, and the second one is sending you to the sales page. Now, I understand that for some women, for some people, it's sometimes not enough just hearing the webinar, and you want to go through all the details, and you want to carefully read the sales page, and see what issues might arise. And there's a huge Q&A section with all the common questions that have been raised. So if you want to go ahead, you can read you can definitely click through to the sales page, but just bear in mind that the disappearing page bonuses, they're going to be gone, right? So as soon as I have 10 women for the one-on-one or 20 women for the LinkedIn, there is no more opt-in. This is it. When they're gone, they're gone. And so if you're ready to take the next step and actually invest in yourself and in your future, in your dream career, press the upper button, so the one that is in turquoise color says buy Grow Abroad now, and that will automatically redirect you to this particular window. So that's a platform that hosts the course, and you can press the buy now button here. And it will first ask you to register, so you can sign up whether with Facebook, or I think you can sign up with LinkedIn as well right now, or you can just use your name, email, and password. But do remember the password, because this is it's the same password you're gonna need to actually log on and go through the modules and all the different materials. And then the next step is obviously gonna be to pay for the course. So as you can see, it's not 149, this is 99 right now. So you can either pay with the credit card, or it's integrated with PayPal as well, whatever works for you. And this is it. The second you've completed your registration and you've paid, you're gonna be redirected into your members area. So this is not one of those programs you have to wait for weeks for me to get started and get my sheet together, pardon my French here, and start emailing you, and then some of the emails go into spam, and then you're not sure how to proceed. This is ready to go. So once you are signed up, you are signed up, and so on the left side you will find the menu. You have all the modules, and you can click through. You have the video trainings and the workbook, and you can watch the video, and then you can move to the next one and do the quizzes and all the different stuff. You can download the workbook, so that's downloadable PDF, and you can do it either fill it out online or download it, print it out, and do it. On your own with your own timing, and spend as much time as you'd like. Yeah, what happens if you don't like it? Well, first of all, I'm gonna be incredibly sad. Like, I'm gonna be super disappointed if you don't like it. But if you really do want to test drive the program, sure, no problem. you can sign up and test me for 2 weeks, so the program. And if it's not for you, just submit all of your complete homework for the first 2 weeks. So do, print out the workbooks and do the prerequisite work, and then send it to me over email, and no question asked. If you're not happy, I'm just gonna be happily refund you. Well, not really happily refund you. I'm gonna be extremely sad and disappointed because, and I might even mumble your name in the sleep when you're gone, but seriously, I take your success in your expert career makeover really serious. This is why I want you to do the work. This is why I want you to succeed. And so if you feel that you're doing the work and it's not giving you any closer to your end goal of finding your dream career, yeah, well, I will have to understand, and I will be happy to refund you. And so I guess this is it for me for right now. We've arrived to the Q&A, and it's taken a little bit over an hour, so thank you very much for sticking with me. I think I'm gonna stop the presentation. I'm gonna pump in on the air so you can see me while I go through the comments, and here we go. I'm gonna pump back into hi, this is me. I've been talking for over an hour now. Yeah, so let me take a look at the guest at the chat box and see whether any questions are coming up. And well, thank you guys. Amber says it looks like an awesome course, and I'll be really thrilled to have you, Amber. And Marisa says that, whoo, everything looks great. Thank you very much, Marisa. Thank you for showing up and for supporting me, and encouraging me with the life bonuses and everything that I have to offer. And I really do feel that I've offered a lot of value, and the bonuses, they're tailor-made. They're specifically to address the needs, right? So it's not just random stuff that I have going on in my business that I kind of threw together and say, you know what, take it. Those are your bonuses. This the real thing, like, yeah, because sometimes you feel that maybe not have, like, if only I had 1 more hour or 2 hours to my day, maybe I'd be able to invest into myself a little bit more, and maybe invest in my career a little bit further. And so you know what, this is not going to be an issue anymore, because you have the time management rescue plan, and you know exactly how to tailor your plan, and how to plan your weekly goals, and how to have an activity log, and how to batch together your assignments, so you know that you become more productive and you have time to work on the course. And and some people were saying, what about vision boards, and how do you utilize them? And it's like really a little bit woohoo kind of out there. And I'm not a woohoo kind of person. I'm really rather straightforward in a sense. So for me, this is just yet another way of supporting you while achieving the goals. So it's about setting up, understanding what it is that you want to do, what it is that your dream career and job look like, and then using just another artificial aspect of putting pictures and images together to support you to get to this to the end goal, to achieving the goals. And so I'm gonna spend a couple of more minutes answering the questions if you have any. And then as I look through the chat box, and I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds because I know that there's a delay. Some ladies have actually emailed me beforehand, so I apologize. I think that they could not attend a live webinar, but they had some questions. And so I had Melissa, who's been asking me whether she has to commit to it right now, because this is really busy timing, and with Christmas or Hanukkah, the New Year's, whatever it is that you're celebrating in this particular end of the year. And we are traveling home, and we have family coming over, and I understand that it might not be the best of timing for people. I get it, sure. I mean, everything is logical. And so the idea is you actually have lifetime access to the course. Once you register, it's yours to have. So you can either work your butt off for the next week before Christmas, and and complete a lot of the exercises, and set yourself for a very successful 2017, and have the right intentions and the right mode and the right goals ahead of you. Or you can push it a little bit further and decide you're not going to touch it before January. Sorry about that. And then you can celebrate the New Year's and you go with your life, because this is yours to have, And if you're eligible to the bonuses, then you will have the bonuses right ahead, and you can utilize them later on. Just we'll schedule our own talk a little bit later, further in January or maybe even early February, if you're taking your time. And they don't go away because the course is yours to have, and I'm not going anyway. So this is it. So that's the first question that I have from Melissa. And then I'm looking back at the chat box once again. And I think the chat box has stopped working. Hey, what is happening? Where is the chat box? Yeah, I don't think that people are asking me questions. Do you guys have any further questions? Anything you want me to know, or anything you want me to share with you once again? Well, if you don't have any questions, and thank you very much for all of those that I started receiving emails, and I see that sales are coming in. So thank you very much. I'm honored and I'm humble, and I really appreciate your support and your trust in me. And I want to congratulate you on taking the first step. And if you do have any other questions on the sales page, if you click the link at the bottom and you go to the sales page, you have a very wide explanation of what the program entails and what are the modules and what are the building blocks of the course. And then you have a very elaborated Q&A session at the end. And I tried to address all the various questions that I typically get asked when launching something like that, or when we're working with one-on-one clients. And if I haven't answered anything, that could happen, although I spend a lot of time thinking about it. But if I haven't answered, just email me. It's rita@expertrenaissance.com, and just ask me whatever it is you want to ask. And so I see that Marisa is asking, is there a live component to like live calls? So for the course itself, there are no live calls. What we have for live is the bonuses. So the fast action bonuses. You can either you can have both. The first disappearing bonuses is 60 minutes of tete-a-tete. So just you and me figuring out whatever it is that we have open, and whatever questions you want to raise, whatever dilemmas you might want to have, or something that is unclear, like you want to work on your cover note, or your business idea, or just exploring potential path and filtering through your particular circumstances and what you're facing. So that's the first live component. And the second live component is for the first 20 women who jump on board. They're also going to get access to the LinkedIn Makeover Masterclass. So this is a separate course that I'm offering, but it's going to be completely free of charge. And within this course, we're going to have a live Q&A. So that's going to be a live component as well. And with that in mind, since I don't see any further questions coming in, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for for being here and for devoting a full hour or even a little bit more of your time to be with me here. And I hope it's been helpful and actionable and valuable for yourself, and that you are feeling excited and stimulated and inspired to finally take this next step, to completely change path and to address the issues you've been running away from, and understanding what it is that you want to do when you grow up, and completely reinvent yourself and find the dream job abroad. And with that in mind, thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the private Facebook group and in the discussions within the course. Thank you. Bye bye.